Hello, my name is Stephen Furchet. I'm the local history librarian at Robbins Library in Arlington. In this video, I'm going to go over how to search our Arlington directories that are digitized as part of our local history collection. To start, we're on the local history page, which you would get to by clicking on our website, Collections and Services, and then selecting Local History. To find our Arlington directories, these will be either under the Researching Your Family section. You can see here under Town Street Directories, or they're under Researching Your Home. This is because the directories are both valuable for genealogy in terms of establishing the residency of an ancestor. And it's also good for home research to see who may have lived at your home at a time. And since they go back to 1869, it's a good way to see how long your home might have stood for. And to do this, we can click on this directly. So if you're ever on the Robbins Library Internet Archive collection, you can search under metadata Arlington directory to just directly select that collection. And if you wanted a specific year, you go over to the years collection and select 4. To note, with the 1869 to 1940 collection, not every year is represented. There is a gap between 1869 and 1883, a little bit more of a gap between 1883 and 1890, and then generally the directories we have available are usually every 2 to 3 years, up to 1940. For this specific example, we're going to select 1914. This will give a image of the 1914 Arlington City directory and take us right to the book. If you have questions about how you would search a book directly through the Arlington Internet Archive, I recommend viewing the yearbook video. But we're going to go right directly into full screen, and as a bit of an overview as how you would look through the directory. Depending on the year, you'll usually get a list of advertisers, a preface, you'll get a map, and then a list of contents. So for the Arlington directory, you'll get a general list of residents that is done in alphabetical order. And then you get the street list at the very end of the book. Were you to go to 202, you do get the streets in alphabetical order. And then you get a list of the residents who lived on that street. Usually, unless a woman lived alone, it does defer to the male resident during that time period. So that's why you'll get a Mr. and Mrs., for example, James P. Bacon, instead of having the residents listed individually. And this would often be the case for married couples as you go through the street list and the resident list. So something to keep in mind as you research here. You also note you'll also get banks, a business directory, the listing of cemeteries, a census, the listing of churches, clubs, and societies that occurred in Arlington, where the fire departments are, the post offices, public schools, railroad stations during this time period. The regional railroad was a factor in Arlington during this time. The Robbins Library, and an alphabetical street directory listing along with town officer. So again, very good to establish residents during a time period, who lived in your home during a year, and also like a snapshot of what businesses were around and current social events during a time period as well. So again, like the listing of churches and the alphabetical listing of streets. To note, with these street listings, if you are ever researching a street, Academy Street, for example, they will not leave the abbreviation street because it is inferred. If it's an avenue, you will usually get the abbreviation AV. You'll also get Brattle Street Place, Lane, Park, Court, Terrace. Road will also be occasionally abbreviated to RD. So we can also search directly for an ancestor. In this example, I'm going to type in Dolan as we search for Cyrus Dolan. So if you viewed the Arlington Yearbook video, this search is very much the same way. The original search term is highlighted, which you can click on directly to the left, or you can go through the results page. I'm going to click on the option directly, and as we can see here, we see Dolan Cyrus E. listed as a sculptor, 69 Oakland Ave. So to note, with these listings, you will get a description of the name of the person, along with their occupation. As we all many know, Cyrus Dolan was a sculptor, best known here for the Monogamy Hunter statue and the Robbins Memorial Flagstaff, and in Boston, Appeal to the Great Spirit and the statue of Paul Revere. You'll also see sometimes if someone was widowed, and as with the case with his son, Edwin Dolan, you'll see the BDS, which would indicate if they're a boarder rather than an owner of the home. Notice you will not see Victoria Dolan, even though she was married to Cyrus and did live in that. Once again, unless they lived alone or were widowed, you will not often see the female residents listed in the Arlington Directory. Once again, we can go individually. We see a list of professions. In this case, Cyrus Dolan's the sculptor. Once again, the town officers, Cyrus Dolan's listed there as a trustee of the Robbins Library, listed as Bobbins on the search result. OCR can be inconsistent. We see him again listed as part of the Robbins Library section, as part of the trustees, the hours, who the librarian is. We also see the Arlington Heights branch as well. And then once again, we get to the street listing, Oakland Avenue 69, Mr. and Mrs. Cyrus Dolan. So we do not see Victoria listed there. The other option you can do is search for street address. For this example, I'm going to search for the address of the Jason Russell house. Now, I recommend doing this in quotation marks, which I'm going to show you here why you should do that, because when you search for 7 Jason, you will get every instance of where the number 7 or the name Jason is listed. Since we just want the address, we are going to put this in quotation marks. And this will only give us the one result. If we click there directly, we will see at that time at 7 Jason Street, this Jason Russell house, people were still living there. In this case, Arthur and Frank Clare, who are listed as a shoe cutter and shoe worker. Arthur Clare is listed as H, indicating he's the homeowner. BDS for Frank indicates he's the shoe worker. Since they have the same last name, we could infer Frank could be the brother or the son of Arthur, and this was a family business. And so it does give you a context of, if you're researching your home, who lived there at the time, what other relationships there are. Just like with the yearbook, you can scroll forward. You'll get some advertisements. We can also fast forward with the scroll bar. Some people in bold will indicate some important businesses. And there's the Arlington Business Directory, which you'll see the owners, what professions they are, and the address of where they do business. If you see a C page, that indicates they have a significant advertisement. And then you see like a list of more advertisers for businesses outside of Arlington. You, of course, see the listing of clubs and societies, which is a very good way to see what occurred during a time period. For example, we see the Arlington Women's Club. Again, we do not see the actual names of the women here, even with the Women's Club. You just see a Mrs. Arthur D. Saul. So something to keep in mind as you research important figures or do genealogy. Again, the town officers, where the post offices are, the schools, information on the libraries, banks, cemeteries, and again, the street listing in the very back, which is done in alphabetical order. And then you'll also see a listing of the census of Massachusetts from 1910, and a listing of theaters. That was a pretty popular pastime back then. So I thank you for watching this video on how to search the Arlington directories. If you have more questions about this or other local history matters, you can email me at arlhist, that's ARLHIST @minlib.net. Thank you.